Hey everyone, welcome back to Better Odds. I'm your host Adam, Randy, Michael, Ben. We're all here in the house tonight, and we are going to navigate you to the best of our ability through Week 7 of NFL action for bets. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Pretty
Good.
good.
What a wild and crazy Week 6. We had our first live stream. We had a solid one viewer the whole time we were in there.
Hey, we were right about his team. They won.
He commented, he chatted. Yeah, absolutely. So we were doing well with that. Our bets didn't go as great as we anticipated, but we've been pretty dismal on even number weeks. So that was another one par for the course. Anything we take away that really surprised us this past week, besides the given of the two teams that lost?
Don't count on running backs.
And that's why
David Montgomery goes down. Christian McCaffrey goes down. I don't know. There's probably at least, 3 other running backs that went down? Seemed like it.
That's why they get paid the money they get paid.
Pollard might as well have been down last night because he's averaging like 2 yards a carry. Didn't help the old parlay at all.
I think that we learned that September in the NFL is a lie, and that in October it starts to tell you the truth. San Francisco obviously came out and lost to Cleveland, and then the Jets beat the Eagles. But we learned in the San Francisco game what they should have known all season is that these guys cannot and have not and probably will never hold up to this level of workload. They give CMC all these carries. They talk about they need to take him off the field. They continue to put him out there anyways. And then he's going to miss a couple of weeks now. And then the same thing with Debo, and the same thing with who else went down in that game? Trent Williams for them. And it's just like, you guys haven't figured this out by now? This is like year 6 of, these guys going down and missing multiple weeks, and they knew better.
Well, especially CMC. I mean, it's egregious to give him 20-plus carries a game and 5 or 6 catches. Like, we know Carolina burned him up. We saw what happens when you give him that many touches. And sure enough, this is about the time of the season where he starts really breaking down after 100-plus touches.
And then every year we try to make these guys a thing, and it happened today. Julio Jones signs with the Eagles, 1-year contract.
Yeah,
every year, please don't go pick this guy up in fantasy. He's been washed.
I've learned my lesson the last 2 years.
Ben, any takeaways you've had from last week?
Just the takeaways I have is, we really don't know yet who the contenders are. The Eagles and San Francisco, they both lost, but they both look good in the loss. But really, who's going to come out each division? We really don't know yet.
That's true. We haven't. There's a lot of things we need to learn. As far as a betting perspective, like I said, we're a third of the way through the season. 6 weeks down. There's 18 weeks in the NFL season. Any trends or anything that we've grasped, or is everything still just fluid and volatile, like most things?
I think this is one of the most volatile years we've had. What offense can you truly trust to go out there, or what head coach can you trust to actually call a good game plan at this point? You've got quarterbacks that are normally sharp as can be that aren't looking as good as they could or have in the past. Like, it's a tough season to gauge.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing to learn from this year is, if there was ever a time to work on bankroll management and unit size and sticking to, whatever set standards you have for yourself for betting, this is the year, because, there's been spots where I've been 100% certain almost that, this is a bad line, this should hit, and it just doesn't hit. There's been multiple spots. I can think of last night, I bet the over on Dak attempts. I think he fell too short. And those two halftime, I don't know what the hell Mike McCarthy. I don't even know if Mike McCarthy knows what the hell Mike McCarthy's doing. They burned 20 seconds. They have 2 timeouts. I had a buddy here watching it with me, and he's like, what is he doing? He can't take the timeouts with him. And he burns 20 seconds at midfield. They get down to the 8 on some penalties and whatnot. Helps them out. They have a timeout left. Even if you ran the ball and move it a couple yards closer, call a timeout. or take a snap, count to 4. If you don't see anything, throw it in the stands. I mean, nothing. He called a timeout and then ran additional time off the clock after the timeout to go to the field goal. I mean, it's stuff that I've never seen before, and I really feel like it simply boils down to a math problem. Like, there was a team that I saw that it went for 2 when I think they were down 7, and I'm just like, all you needed to do was just kick the extra point, and you take the lead on the next score anyways. Like, what are you doing?
What was that, Washington?
No, it was the Falcons. They did it against Washington.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm just like,
it made 0 sense. And then I
did.
like how the announcers are trying to like justify it. Well, the book says, I'm like, how the hell does this make any sense?
Yeah,
and they were at home.
Yeah. Even in analytics world, that still doesn't make sense.
I'm about to say you're the analytics major, Ben.
Yeah.
Can you decide? Can you tell us anything? Answer this.
That was just a stupid coaching call. I mean, that doesn't make sense. With the amount of time left on the clock and in the game, you go for the field. I mean, the extra point. You don't, take
if you look at the core of the words, right? So if you look at the core and you break it down, there's anal and there's lysis. Anal, I think we all pretty familiar with. Lysis is to tear open, right? To burst open. That's what I feel like happens to me every time I try to trust one of these teams. Is I look at their analysis and I see anal lysis, and it just rips me open every time because I'm just like, guys, what in the world? Like, it's basic math on a lot of these instances. Yeah. It's just so simple. It's like 6th grade math. And they cannot figure it out. Stop calling plays Mike McCarthy, Josh McDaniels. If you suck as a coach, you don't need more duties. Frank Reich. Stop. You suck. We know. We've got it figured out. Hire somebody. If you're not going to, leave and let someone else have your job.
Who calls the plays in Atlanta? It's not Dwight Yoakam, is it? Is our head coach?
I hope not.
No, I think it is. I think
it is.
I think
he probably
so.
is because he was the offensive coordinator from Tennessee. Arthur Smith was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith. Yep.
So, yeah, that's why you don't get a country singer as your head coach. Really.
I mean, look,
it's just what the fans choose.
Look at Dan Campbell. Right, like he has Ben Johnson calling those offensive plays, and Dan Campbell, I believe, was a tight end when he played in the NFL.
Dude, a good coach delegates and gets the right people around him. Like, it's not, you don't take responsibility for it and try to be head coach at the same time. Like, it never works out.
It doesn't.
I mean, like Andy Reid might be the only exception to that rule.
Another thing we've learned so far this season is a lot of these teams out here. If you have a favorite team, whatever that team shall be, a lot of you don't have your quarterback. And if you do have your quarterback, there's an even lesser chance you have your head coach in place. Like, very few teams have both positions where you can look at and you can say, okay, we can build on that.
What about I technically have my quarterback and I technically have my coach, but I don't have a defense worth crap?
I don't think that you are one of those teams
I don't.
that
Yeah.
has the quarterback and the coach.
Are you an LSU fan?
Also, it's time for Bill Belichick to retire. If Coach Bill Belichick's not going to retire, it's time for GM Bill Belichick to be fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
once we get into these games, even Vegas is so confused. Once we look at the spreads, I mean, it's crazy. So,
And thank you for the segue, Ben, because we probably did start on getting into some games. So with that, we have a Thursday night game, gentlemen. It is the Jaguars, resurgent Jaguars, coming back from their overseas trip and still winning against the New Orleans Saints. And I don't know what to make of the Saints. But anyway, the Saints at home are 1.5 point favorites. And the total in this game is 39.5. Ben, I will start with you. You got any thoughts on this Thursday night matchup?
on DraftKings, I have the Saints as a 1 point favorite. Let's see, they're at home,
We don't
Jacksonville.
want worse odds.
I'll go with the Saints here. I mean, heck, like I said, Vegas is even confused. It's only 1.5, so I'll take that. I mean, heck, make some money. Maybe even go Jacksonville on the money line. I mean, it's kind of a toss up. I mean, a lot of these games this week are going to be toss ups. So
So please clarify which one you want to go with.
He literally said both plays. I'll take
I
both sides, and we'll just see what happens.
Flip a coin. I mean, seriously, a lot of these games are going to be that way. I'm going to go with. I'm just going to Jacksonville money line. There, that's what I'm going with.
Fuller, if this game was played in Jacksonville, Jacksonville would be the favorite by Vegas. What do you have in this game?
I like Jacksonville, man. I mean, I know Ben doesn't know what he likes, but
Yeah, not no.
I like Jacksonville. They're playing good football right now. What do they won 3 straight now? I think after starting 1 and 2.
Yeah. Yep.
The Saints' offense to me it's just lacking. Even with Kamara back, I don't know. I think we're figuring out really quickly that maybe Carr just isn't what we thought he was. We were hoping he would be better. He's just not explosive. Their passing game's kind of just So I like the Jaguars to win this game. I mean, short week, T-Law, Etienne, I like it. So I'm going to go Jags.
But would you change if Trevor doesn't play?
Is he not going to play?
I don't know.
Are you just making stuff up?
No.
Does he have a questionable tag? I haven't seen it. I don't have him on my fantasy team, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look that up because I wasn't even aware he was hurt.
Yeah.
Is it real? What's the injury, Ben? Do you have an
Is it
injury
real?
update?
He got his ankle rolled on the last game, and like towards the end of it.
Randy, what's his injury? His history of injuries at Clemson. He was pretty reliable, right?
Yeah, I mean he probably play this week. He's a limited participant today, so he's probably just doing walkthrough.
He was only out one time in college for a concussion. Is that correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it was like his second game taking over for Watson. He got popped on the sideline trying to go for extra yards. Took a nap.
He
did sit out a week after that.
Yeah, Cade Klubnik came in for him, right, and played that week. I think.
No,
that was not it.
That was Lawrence's first or second year when that happened.
Okay.
Yeah. Who was their backup?
DJ Uga
No,
not going to work here anymore.
They have CJ Beathard. Yeah, I still like him to win with even Beathard.
No, I thought you were talking about Lawrence.
No, yeah,
I am talking about Lawrence.
We were talking about college. He's talking about now in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm talking about now.
Randy, what do you have in this game, sir? Or Michael, are you finished? Are you still?
I got another 10 minutes, but Randy,
you're not. You're not locking in this game anyway, right?
I'm not locking it, but I like the Jags. Even if T-Law don't play, I still like the Jags.
Okay. CJ Beathard told reporters today that it is "quote unquote" very likely that Trevor Lawrence will start Thursday night.
I have a good feeling about that. What are your feelings on this game, Randy?
I'm with Michael. I think Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. I mean, this game is probably more towards it should be almost a pick 'em, and you're getting plus money with Jaguars. So I don't have any real confidence in either one of these teams. But if I was going to take any side here, I would take Jaguars on the money line. The 1.5 points. I mean, what are we considering there? Safety? I mean, there's or a missed extra point. I'm not doing that. Just give me the plus money on the money line, and you just hope they win the game. Plus 102 is what I see on FanDuel. It might be higher on DraftKings, possibly, or in Ben's state, whatever state that is.
DraftKings has a plus 100.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're getting two extra bucks on FanDuel. Yeah, I would take the Jaguars. It's probably honestly a stay away spot, but also I'm going to end up betting something because it's an island game. I would also say take a look at Taysom Hill receiving yards. I know that sounds scary, but he came out on Sunday and looked like an actual tight end. So whenever those numbers drop, Jacksonville's not good against tight end. So maybe take a look at Taysom. If Johnson, I think, is still out.
Johnson, he's questionable now. He's coming back slowly, but I don't know if he's gonna be ready or not. So
probably just give him the extra rest because he's coming back off an injury like that. Probably give him this week off, and then they'll bring him back in the 18 days or 16 days, whatever that
Since it's a short week this week, and they got a long time before their next game. Moving on, and before I move on, I'd like to state if y'all are ready to move on. I think we are though, right?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, I'd like to state real quick about the whole Vegas not knowing what's going on and everything like that. The under, there was a stat I saw on ESPN this morning, and I don't know the stat right offhand, but something like 90 and 61 with some ties of the under. That's the record for the under this year in NFL through 6 weeks. 90 unders
So
opposed to 61. Yeah, and it's like the highest percentage in quite some time. I don't know exactly the stat. Y'all can look it up though. Feel free. It's there for you. And with that being said, that first game you have 39.5 is our total. And I'm looking down the board right here, and the first 4 games I'm looking at have all totals under 40. So Vegas is now keying in on that, trying to, squeeze out what juice they can for these unders all hitting. And with that stat coming out, I kind of feel like it's going to push people to like, oh, we can do the under. But now Vegas is going under with everybody. So look out when you're betting the points this week. I just want to help you out with that one because the media, the mainstream media, ESPN and Vegas, I'm not talking about, let's say, collusion or or fixing or anything like that. Like people like to scare and talk about the NFL. No, games are played. Games are won and lost by the players on the field and the coaches that make the coaching calls, okay? But at the same time, Vegas knows what they're doing, and we get a little help from a national media market to put something out there and drop it out there. You can get Vegas can start juicing up some things and making some things change around. If I'm wrong, Randy, well, anything said, you let me know.
I'm going to be honest with you. You started talking, I checked out.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, y'all, gentlemen, do y'all agree? I know Ben hasn't done this whole sports betting thing as much as we have, but Fuller, do you kind of agree with that statement or no?
I'm gonna refer back to Randy on this.
Okay, y'all were checking. Okay. Well, anyway,
I started looking at the next game, and then
it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Just the point is, Vegas is
of
going to take any advantage they can to make money.
Exactly.
Make you lose money.
Yeah, I mean, like any of us would if you had a business and there's an opportunity to ethically or with them, I mean, hell, even unethically make extra money, then they're going to do that.
Yeah, they are.
The crazy thing is you look at the over-unders on these games, and I don't really disagree with them. Like, these teams cannot score. I mean, like, what's your next game? Raiders and Bears?
Giants and Commanders.
Giants and Commanders, yeah.
Giants, Commanders, yeah.
I mean, nobody's really exploding off the page there, you know what I mean? But you look at, there's Raiders and Bears. Okay, 2 teams that don't like to score above 20. Browns and Colts. Once again, 2 teams at this point in the season that don't want to score.
Mm-hmm.
Bills and Patriots. The Bills will probably account for 75% of those points. And still won't probably hit the over on that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay, we will move along, though. I just want to throw that out there to everybody because, again, if you saw that stat that I saw today and then you see these unders and you're like, yeah, it's a thing. But again, these, like Fuller was just saying, these teams do not score either. They've had a hard time of scoring all year, and we don't necessarily see anything changing in the near future. Let's take this next game, for instance, Commanders and Giants. The spread is it's – Giants are +2 at home. Total is 39.5. I don't know the status of Daniel Jones, but with him, I don't know how this game necessarily plays out. Tyrod Taylor looked okay against Buffalo.
I thought Tyrod Taylor looked better than Daniel Jones.
Well, except for Brian Daboll's not really happy with him.
Besides that, but
at the end of the game
or something, didn't turn the ball over enough out there.
Yeah,
when he handed the ball, he audibled out of a pass down situation with no timeouts into a run, got stuffed to the goal line, went to halftime.
Yep. So
he should have kicked a field goal then.
Well, that was I think that's what Daboll was going for. I think he was. Throw the pass. If you see something, we'll take the touchdown. If not, toss it in the stands, and then we'll kick the field goal.
I still put that on Daboll. It's his QB2. Dude hadn't started a game in over a year.
He's been
and
in
they
the league.
Want to let him make decisions. Like
he's been in the league long enough not to audible out of that.
I know, but if you really want to make it clear, like just what is the saying? Just assume you're explaining things, and everybody you're explaining to is stupid. Daboll should have been like, we're passing here regardless. If you don't like it, throw it out the end zone. Do not switch to a run play. Like,
all I got to say is it's Tyrod Taylor, so I'll leave that there. Fuller, I will start with you and this game. If you want to talk about it at all, or if you want to say pass, it's easy to do that too.
this game is trash. Let's be honest. I mean, you probably do have a gambling problem if you want to be in on this game. I think Washington should win, but I don't have that much confidence in Washington to do what they're supposed to do. At this point, I'm probably just going to try and pick Washington money line. I don't want to start messing with the spread. I'm just going to do money line because I think Washington should win. Spread's only -2 from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Sam Howell is a better quarterback to me than whatever the hell the Giants are going to run out there. That's not saying a whole lot, but they got the better wide receiver in McLaurin. I think between B-Rob and Gibson and running back, that the fact that Saquon's not really healthy, they probably still might have a slight edge there when you combine the two. Because, I mean, the Giants have Saquon, and that's it. So if he's not 100%, he's not out there just crushing it, I don't think they win at all. So I'm going to go Commanders here, money line, and just call it a day.
Randy?
I'm going to give you a couple plays I like in this game. I mean, obviously, I don't really love anything in this game, but there are some things that I think you could take advantage of. I think that the Commanders get the win on the road. So I would take them. I'd take a look at them on money line. The money's already coming in on the under, but I'm going to tease the under down to 33.5. It's +200 because I think this game ends 16-13. I think that's the maximum amount of points that I see in this game. It should be just slow going. Well, when I say slow going, it's actually going to be technically faster because it's going to be a lot of running the ball. Saquon is the best offensive player, obviously, on the Giants, and I'm not sure that Brian Robinson isn't the best offensive player on the Commanders. He's looked pretty terrible over the last few weeks, which is good for us in this spot because the Giants give up a ton on the ground to running backs. If his line drops at like 44, 45.5, you can get the over on Brian Robinson rushing yards. So I'm going to look at Robinson's rushing yards if they're at 44, 45.5. I'm going to tease the under down to 33.5, and I'm going to tease it now because the money's already coming in on the under, and you might not have the same opportunity later in the week. And then I looked at the juice on the Commanders, and I think with it being, -134, like, are we really that confident either way in this game? So, I mean, if you like the Commanders, if you're feeling that, go for it. I just don't. That might be too much juice for a Commanders team that I don't even know if they know their identity.
Ben, any thoughts on this game?
This is going to be a tough game to watch. I don't really like any play here, to be honest. I would just stay away. I mean, the Commanders looked somewhat decent against a Falcons, defense that was supposed to be better than they were last year. But I'm just staying away from this game.
Falcons are starting to be sneaky bad.
Yes, they are.
The defense looks better this year.
Oh, the defense is good. Derek Ritter doesn't know what a wide receiver is, but
who?
Ritter?
Drake London had 100 yards.
Desmond Ritter? Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Drake London had 100 yards, 102, I think.
We want to talk about this Giants Commanders game, any or
nope?
Are we ready to move on?
We're good.
Good deal. We're gonna go to Cleveland at Indy. Indy's +2.5 at home. Total again 39.5. Cleveland just came off of a win against undefeated at the time San Francisco with PJ Walker at quarterback. Is that correct?
Dude, PJ's a stud.
And do we know the status of Watson this week?
I don't know what's going on with him.
Do we care?
I don't know.
So is he refusing to get massage treatment because he knows what people are going to say?
I think he's essentially turned into that Toby Keith song. He's not as good as he once was. Kind of situation. Like I don't think he's good anymore.
I don't think he's good once as he ever was, and I don't even know what ever was it was.
He was good once at Clemson.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he absolutely looked like, obviously Clemson fan, watched every game of them when he was at school there. I thought he was going to be what he was the first 3 years in Houston. I thought he was about to be, top 3, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And those couple of years off, it just looks like it's over now.
Well, getting back on track, whether he plays or not, the defense is the star of this Browns team by far, in a way. And the Colts are still having Minshew mania at quarterback. Gardner Minshew is going to be starting quarterback again. For the next few weeks,
the rest of the year will be Minshew mania. From what
it's going to be.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. It's not official, but yeah, I can see that happening. Anyway, with the Browns defense, this is why Vegas has this game the way they do with the spread, I believe. But Gardner's definitely serviceable. Definitely can get things done in this game. Randy, how do you see this game playing out, and what do you have bet-wise on this game?
Well, I'm glad you brought up Gardner Minshew because I will take Gardner Minshew for an anytime interception. Because this Cleveland defense is second in the NFL. Interceptions per game, 1.4. This defense is a beast. This defensive line is going to maul this Indy offensive line. Gardner doesn't seem like the type of quarterback that's going to check it down a lot. And I think he tries to keep the play alive a little longer than what he needs to. That pressure is going to get to him, and he's going to toss one into the air, and Cleveland's going to come down with it.
Ben?
I'm going to take Cleveland to cover the spread. You said you have it at 2.5. I have it at -2. So their defense is just going to eat Indy alive, I do believe. Unless Indy does something, Zach Moss, he's looked pretty good, but that's all they really have.
No Jonathan Taylor?
I don't know that situation there.
No Michael Pittman
Jr.? No, definitely no Michael Pittman. That Jonathan Taylor situation is weird. I don't know what to make of it.
He looks like Jonathan Taylor Thomas at this point.
Yeah.
He's still in training camp right now as far as we're looking at it right now. So, Fuller, your take on this game?
I'm going to take the under, 39.5. I don't picture either team really lighting up the scoreboard in this game. Seems like a 20-17 type affair, which would be under. I don't think it'll get to be more than that. So I like the under with Browns versus Colts. I think the Colts have a pretty solid defense too. So, neither offense really jumps off the board.
Even if Deshaun plays, no offensive uptick.
He's just more expensive PJ Walker, really.
What has
Deshaun done that PJ didn't do this past week? Win? PJ won at least.
Yeah. And they would have won if Moody actually made his kicks, during that game. So,
yeah, where is Robbie Gould when you need him? For San Fran,
double clanky.
We are going to move on from this game. I'm not even going to ask. We're going to move on from this game. Raiders at the Bears.
Pass.
Yeah.
Under.
We must at least talk about this game briefly. Raiders are -3. The total is 37.5. Bears are at home. Obviously, Justin Fields is gone.
Doubtful.
Yeah. Probably not playing.
He was doubtful the entire game last time.
Yeah, he's who's that quarterback in there for them right now?
It don't matter.
Scott, something like that.
Okay, it's not Nathan Peterman. Okay, I thought.
No,
I thought it was Peterman, but I think okay.
It wasn't in the game Sunday.
Yeah.
Or was it like Bajent or something like that? I don't know. It was somebody I'd never heard of before.
Okay.
Probably never will again.
Well, no,
Hope not.
he'll probably start this week unless they picked up somebody. And you know who they should pick up? He needs to make a comeback. This is a good spot for him. You know
We
why?
tried to-
Because they still want to lose, and I don't think he's worried about winning. I think he's worried about getting paid. So,
Yeah, it was Bajent.
Panthers
Tyson
tried that
Bagent.
last year and it didn't exactly
Tyson
work out
Bagent.
like we were hoping.
Was he from Wisconsin or something? He sounds like a Wisconsin name.
No.
No, they had Graham
Oh,
Mertz
man.
for like the last 10 years. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and now he's in Miami. So
crushing
I mean, yeah,
Florida.
no, Florida. Yeah,
Crushing
Miami.
it with Florida, though. He's actually doing really
Well,
well.
he's actually doing pretty good. Yeah.
Wearing Tebow's old number. Yeah. And look, we talked about this game as much as we going to talk about it, so we're going to move on. Just kidding.
No,
Yeah,
I got you real quick. I can
Yeah,
go through
Randy,
real
go
quick.
ahead. Sean, man,
I think I
what we
can
got
speak
on
for the
here?
group on this one.
Yes.
We want the under on 37.5,
Under. Mhm.
Yeah,
and Josh Jacobs rushing yards over because they're going to be running the ball all the time. Chicago's really, 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 really
I
bad
need
against
to
the
know what
run.
he's dropping at. If it's not 55 or less, I don't like it.
Look at his last 2 weeks. He's been significantly better.
Jacobs,
But who's going to be the QB for Las Vegas, anyways? Is Jimmy G
77
going to
yards on
play?
25 carries.
Jimmy G should be the
69
quarterback,
yards
right?
on 20 carries. He's
But
He
there's
got,
really
taken
no.
he got taken to the hospital, so I don't know.
who?
Jimmy G is
Jimmy
back.
G.
He went to the hospital. Was back
He is
injured.
back.
No,
Yeah,
he's-
I doubt he plays. He doesn't. He's not one of those guys that just plays through
I doubt he
injury.
makes it the
Yeah.
whole game. He ain't gonna make it the whole game.
He ain't made it through many games this year.
He's a first, second quarter kind of guy. Like
That's why I think Josh Jacobs gets there because I think he gets as many carries as he can possibly take on Sunday.
I mean, if it's not, if Garoppolo isn't playing, it's Aiden O'Connell, which is what they've been screaming for some of these Raider fans have been screaming for Aiden O'Connell to be the starting quarterback. He might show out. So,
We've seen this movie.
Yeah.
yeah, we have.
It wasn't very good.
Isn't Mariota there too?
No, he's in Philly.
He's in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
he was
trying to
like
think,
2 years ago.
he was like, yeah,
Before the Falcons gave him a try.
yep.
Yeah, I think we can move on from this one. It's pretty boring.
Yeah. Let's move on to the team that actually has a winning record against a team that can't score points either. Buffalo Bills at the Patriots. Bills are 8.5-point favorites on the road in Foxborough. Total is 41.5. Ben, what do you have in this game?
Take the Bills on everything. I have the spread at -9, but I have them covering. I mean, the Patriots, I don't know what's going on with them. Belichick just needs to go. I would think his time's done. Patriots look awful. They're going to continue to look awful all year. Buffalo, I think, is going to come out throwing the ball more with Josh Allen. He's going to try to show that Giants game was kind of a fluke. He kind of looked off in that game too. So I go with Buffalo.
Michael?
If it wasn't for the fact that the Giants pushed them to the brink this week, I'd say this really feels like a trap game. I don't know that after last week the Bills could potentially let that happen 2 weeks in a row, but I don't get the warm and fuzzies about this game, even at -8.5, -9 for the Bills. I think the Bills win. I still think this game ends up closer than it ever should be. So I'm probably just going to stay away from it personally. It just feels like to me something that, the Patriots have looked god-awful for 4 weeks now. I just feel like at some point they'll steal a win somewhere or they'll push somebody to the brink. And it kind of feels like the Bills since they're interdivision teams. So I'm going to stay away from it, but I would take the Bills to win. But that's not going to really be worth the juice won't be worth the squeeze. In that.
Randy, anything?
Yeah. I hate talking bad about somebody. Especially I know that this person has a special needs child that I know that I would never wish anything bad upon them. But we have to start looking at like Bill O'Brien. He goes to Houston And the Houston Texans have just now started to respond and rebuild from he just killed that team. He goes to Alabama. Alabama doesn't quite seem the same.
Killed the strongest dynasty known to man.
He's in the Patriots now. And I think we're seeing the same song and dance. Like, I just don't think he's good at his job. I think Brady carried him and made him who he was. These two teams know each other really well. McDermott, defensive coach. Belichick, defensive coach. So far, the highest total we've talked about at 41.5. I'll take the under.
Anything else on this game? Actually, I do have something on this game. The weather. I just looked it up because I figured it might be a little gloomy there. It's going to be a very gloomy, very miserable week on the East Coast is what I've seen. And I looked at Sunday's forecast there, 56 for the high, rain moving out early, and winds 10 to 20 sustained with probably gusts in the 30s as the front moves through. It's going to be some nasty football weather if that does anything for you. So
if that wind is correct, not saying that you're wrong, but if that wind is correct, go take the under right now.
It's definitely going to
drop multiple points.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be 15 to 20. I don't see gusts on there yet because it's 5 days out, but definitely around 15, 20 mile an hour sustained. And so when you have sustained winds, at least that way, you're going to have gusts at least another 5 to 10 mile an hour more. So
if it's windy like that too, I would take the Patriots at plus 8.5.
Yeah,
it's going to be one of those games, super low scoring. They're both just going to be running the rock.
We actually watched this game a couple of years ago where I believe they ran the ball predominantly every play. I believe there was a scenario in this same exact game where Buffalo ran the ball. I believe they threw it maybe 10 times, and it was just
was it 3 times?
It wasn't. I think I said 10, trying to overshoot it, but it wasn't a lot at all.
I think there was a weird game where like Allen threw it like 3 times or something like that.
No, not Allen. No. Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Max Bell from Patriots. Yeah, they held it down and Patriots went through like 3 or 5 times, or maybe it was 3 completions. I don't know. But I remember I was sitting at Randy's house watching this game.
I think it was like a Sunday night game or something like that.
It was like a December or January game. I don't think it was this early in the year yet. I think it was the second game they had. I think it was one in Buffalo. But
I don't know that Mac Jones starts this game.
He won't finish it.
Bailey Zappi time.
I think it's Malik Cunningham.
Oh, is it?
That's who they had as QB2 last week.
Is that okay?
Bailey Zappi was the emergency quarterback last week.
I got you. Cool then. With that being said, we are good with this game.
Yep.
All right, we're going to move on to a divisional matchup. NFC South, Falcons at Buccaneers. Both teams coming off a loss. Buccaneers are favored 2.5 points at home. Total is 38.5. Michael, what you got on this game?
I'm going to take Bucs money line. Neither team looked very good last week. The Bucs to me have looked a little more consistent throughout the year. You kind of know what they are. Kind of some solid defensive play. They're going to get you about 20 points a game offensively. Fun fact, as bad as the Carolina Panthers have been, they're actually leading the division in points per game. So if that tells you anything about the other offenses in this division, it probably means you should go ahead and grab the under. That 38 right now, which compared to some of the other games, it's kind of high that we've gone through. I think both teams are averaging about 16 to 17 a game. So if you take both teams' average and put them together, they don't make it to the over-under line. So I would take the under in this game too.
Randy, what do you have, sir?
Man, this one's ugly. I don't think that you can realistically bet anything in this game and feel good about it. I think this might be the same thing as I said last week with Dallas and the Chargers. Whoever you like, you just get them at +5 or +4.5, and you ride the wave. I said that in the Dallas game, and had you taken both teams +4.5, you would have won. I don't feel like either one of these teams can blow anyone out. So yeah, I think if you get plus 4.5 on either squad, it should be good.
Ben, what do you have?
Yeah, this game's just going to be just kind of like the rest of the games this week. Seems like it's going to be hard to watch. I mean, I'm leaning towards the under on 38.5. I don't see either of these two teams lighting up the scoreboard at all. And that's just what I'm going to go with, and that's it.
Yeah, these teams they're not good. I mean, this is the only way to say it. They're not good at all. Like a lot of these teams are here. There's only a few teams that are starting to rise to the top, and we're going to talk about one right now. Number one team in football, by percentage right now, tied atop with a couple of teams. That would be the Detroit Lions. They are going to Baltimore. Baltimore is, wait for it, Baltimore is 3-point favorites in this game. And totals 42.5. Randy, you start us out with, before I go on, I did check the weather again for Baltimore, 15 and 25 mile-an-hour sustained winds on Sunday for this one.
I think you and the Macho Man said it best when you said, the cream will rise to the top, or whatever it was. I don't have the little cream like.
Yeah, I know the little.
Under. It's going to be a trend this week. With the wins, both these defenses are pretty good. Goff is worst on the road. I think Lamar looks like what Cleveland thought they were paying for in Deshaun Watson, but even that isn't really that great. Yeah, under 42.5. It's already catching money. So if you can get ahead of this weather for this weekend, if you want to put bets in, get these totals now because they're not going to be the same come Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, before I give it to Ben, all these East Coast games, like I said, the weather has been nasty. All started this past weekend. It's going to be in a pattern that's going to hold throughout first part of next week. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be showery, rainy, cold, windy, just nasty, blustery by the weekend again. So I just looked at New York, 10 to 20 for that game too against Washington. Yeah, we already talked about that. Under. That game, New England, Chicago, not necessarily in that, but that game's just trash anyway.
I'd like to think the wind would affect them, but they'd be regardless.
Yeah.
Before you throw it to Ben, can I jump in for a second?
Yeah, one more. Yeah, absolutely ready.
There is absolutely one game this week that is catching money on the over. All of the rest are even, or the money's on the under already. And the one game that is catching the over is Pittsburgh and Los Angeles Rams.
That's crazy to think that. I mean, there's a couple of teams that are down here later that we're going to get into, but yeah, okay. I got you. Ben, what do we say on the Detroit Lions and Baltimore? With, like I said, Baltimore being 3-point favorites. What do you have?
Detroit money line.
I've heard that before somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him subtly.
Look at Michael's face.
Would you like to
What, lock it in? Yes, I would
deposit a key in there and turn it. Okay, I was gonna ask a different way. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Locking that one in. Okay, cool.
Yeah, think of that.
Michael.
Baltimore screwed me all year.
Not in an enjoyable way either.
No, I'm gonna go Lions plus 2.5. I don't like that David Montgomery's hurt. I don't like that Jahmyr Gibbs might come back. The wind would play a factor, but man, this Lions team's just looked good all year. I mean,
It's plus 3.
They've probably been one of the most consistent teams. I mean,
You don't want the full field goal?
He's like, I'll take plus 2.5 on DK.
Oh, okay. If it's +3, I'll take it. Yeah.
No, it's plus
Make
3 on
sure.
DK. Yeah.
Okay, it's plus 3 on FanDuel as well.
Okay,
So
+10, I got it.
I don't feel confident in my lock now since Fuller is going, with Detroit. So I so.
now he didn't say they're
I
going to
told
win.
you,
He
though,
said they
mine
were
was
gonna-
all
He did
based off
say
of
yeah,
that.
but yeah.
Now Baltimore screwed me. Now Baltimore could easily screw me this way too and win it.
Yeah.
I can't gauge Baltimore. It's like when I don't trust them because I've given up on the spread. They don't cover the spread. I don't trust them, so I just go money line. And somehow they lose a 7.5 point game that they were favored. And then, I sit there and look at Lamar Miller throwing to his wide receivers, and I go, God, I could catch better than that. I'm done hating on Lamar Miller this year, because after watching the games and watching how many open receivers he consistently hits in the hands and they act like they're allergic to the ball, it is not Lamar's fault at this point. Like,
It doesn't feel like you're finished hating on Lamar Jackson.
No,
Yeah,
I
I did that the
I
other
feel the
day
hate.
too. I did that the other day too, didn't I? Yeah.
You just want to call him the wrong name.
The receivers have me so just fired up. I can't even get the names right anymore. But yeah, Jackson hits his receivers in stride, perfect, drop the ball. It has to be like 5 or 6 a game where you're like, he'd have twice as many yards if his receivers could just catch the ball. Probably 3 times as many touchdowns. There was one drive, I swear, they dropped like 3 in the red zone.
I think that was all like Zay Flowers dropped all 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
They dropped 3 touchdowns last week.
Like he's just gonna have
wide
to throw it
open
to
touchdown.
himself at this point. Just throw it high and just start running and just catch it deep down the field.
I did see Lamar Miller throw the ball a few times at Miami when he played for the Hurricanes and for the Dolphins. He can throw a pretty nice spiral.
See, I was just trying to get a shout out for him. Get some Miami guys up. I know how hard the times are for Miami right now. So
Yeah,
I want to say the
like-
higher.
good days.
I want to say the highest passer rating in NFL history is Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like
okay,
like
yeah.
7 for 7 for like 5 touchdowns or something like
I
crazy
think
like
it's something
that.
crazy like that. Yeah.
And I think Ben's got a punter that was not far behind him.
No.
What was his name? Johnny Hecker. He was pretty good as a passer. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was.
The punter for the Rams.
Yep.
Wait, don't the Panthers have Hecker now?
Yes, they do.
He's our best player.
He is.
He gets a lot of usage.
Y'all haven't
You
used a
saw
fake
him-
fake punt yet?
Yeah, no, you should start him at quarterback. I mean, he'll probably be great for
Who's
you.
he going to
He
throw it
actually
to?
got a
Thielen?
15-yard roughing penalty the other day, or unnecessary roughness penalty because he headbutted a dude.
Without his helmet on.
Yeah. Most
Who's he going to
fired
throw
up
it to? Thielen?
Panther all year.
They only have one person that can catch it.
Oh yes.
Who? Thielen?
Thielen. Yeah, that's the only person Hecker could throw it to would be Thielen. The rest of them are just garbage.
Who is
Well-
Terrence Marshall?
He threw it to somebody else, and that guy got hurt. So if that tells you anything.
Are we ready to move on, gentlemen?
Sure.
Sure.
We're gonna go to the 4:00 window of games, 4:05. Cardinals at Seahawks. Seahawks are 7.5 point favorites. Total is 44.5.
Whew.
Ben, what do you have on this game?
I'm going to go with the under on this game. At 44.5 is seems like way too much between these two teams. I mean, neither one of them look the best in the world on offense, and I couldn't even tell you who's going to win this game either. I mean, Cardinals have been up and down.
Oh, Seattle's an 8-point favorite, just so you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just like how I think this game should be closer, but yeah, take the under.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm going to go Cards +8. I mean, for two division teams, 8 points seems like a lot. And to me, the Cards have been fairly competitive all year. I mean, I know the game got away from them this past week, but I mean, hell, they beat the Dallas Cowboys, so they should have beat the Giants. Like, they've been competitive. They've been right there in some games. So I like the Cards to cover at +8.
Randy?
Kenneth Walker rushing yards over. I would say he probably drops 56, 57, 58, somewhere in there. Just take the over. Cardinals are allowing 112.8 yards on the ground to opposing offenses this year,
Per
And
carry.
I know they're I know they're working in Charbonnet, but he's not there yet. It'll be week 9, week 10 before he actually gets to the full like 20-30% of snaps. So Kenneth Walker over rushing yard.
We got anything else in this game, gentlemen?
It's it's priced about right, unfortunately.
Moving on to that potentially high scoring Steelers and Rams matchup. Steelers at Rams. Rams are 3-point favorites at home. Total is 43.5. Michael, you got anything on this game?
Yeah, I'm going to fade the public here and go under. I don't see it. The Steelers' offense may be one of the worst offenses in the league. And the fact that the Rams are only 3-point favorites in that tells me that they think it's going to me, it means it's going to be more of a low-scoring game because the Steelers aren't going to hang with the Rams if the Rams are putting points on the board. So I'm thinking this is like a 20-17 type game once again, somewhere in there, or 20-14. Like, I mean, the Steelers' offense has been awful. I think they have like 6 touchdowns on the year, something like that. It's crazy. The Rams' offense is looking pretty solid, especially with Cooper Kupp back. They've got 3 solid options in the pass game. I think Kyron Williams is going to miss this game, if I recall. But
Yeah,
they got,
both of our running backs.
And Ronnie Rivers. Yep.
Yeah, but they got Zach Evans too that they drafted, and Zach Evans is actually pretty good if you watched any Ole Miss football last year. So I think Evans actually gets quite a few carries this week, and I think he actually impresses. He's more of kind of that old school running back style, kind of like Nick Chubb, where between the tackles.
I have Zach Evans. I have Zach Evans in the best ball league, so we shall see what happens with
Might
that.
be a good week for him, but yeah, I like the under here just for the simple fact that I don't think the Steelers really score much.
Randy, what do you have in this game?
Yeah, I would say whichever Los Angeles Rams wide receiver you believe in the most, whoever that shall be this week, if you like Kupp, or if you like Puka, or if you like Tutu, take the one you like. You take the receiving yards over. The Steelers allow the 4th most receiving yards in the NFL. If Kyron's out, Ronnie Rivers is out, they're going to work Evans in, sure, but he's not going to get a ton of carries. They're going to take the air. They're going to throw a lot. I would imagine it's Puka or it's Kupp versus Tutu because Steelers typically don't get beat over the top. But I think there's something to take advantage of this week. I would almost lean Puka because I think Minkah Fitzpatrick on that side over the top of Kupp, they'll probably try to bracket him. But I think Puka could come out here and have a game.
Ben, what do you see?
Yeah, I agree with you, Randy, that they're going to probably double Cooper, and it's going to be a Puka game. I'll take the under on points also, and take the over on Puka receptions.
Did we see who the backup is now for them?
For who?
For the Rams, it's Royce Freeman.
Oh yeah, they just signed him today, I want to say.
A little bit of a throwback from a few years ago.
Like 7. But just to reiterate the Steelers, they're averaging 15.8 points per game and 268 yards of total offense this year.
I think Ben and I could probably take the L on that one by now. That Kenny Pickett thing just didn't.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
let Matt Canada get out of there first and then have a new offensive coordinator, but I don't know if we are going to have one this year. It's probably not happening, but maybe next year.
Apparently, Pickett calls better plays than Canada because Canada wasn't very happy that Pickett audibled for a touchdown last game. So.
And he kind of I guess he's been without his number 1, 1A, 1B, whatever you want to consider it this year.
Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, and then like Freiermuth's been out for a while.
George Pickens,
Najee Harris is
Deontay Johnson no questions asked. Like George Pickens is a better receiver than Deontay.
Najee Harris is running the ball like Todd Gurley is in 2023.
He's run it just like Najee Harris has for the last 3 years. Like
I don't know if he's just stuck and if there's concrete in the bottom of his shoes or what the deal is, but like I could outrun him in a foot race, I'm pretty sure. And I haven't ran in
Najee's last 3 years average 3.9, 3.8, 3.9. He's just consistent.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Najee Harris.
Consistently bad, but
We will move right along to Green Bay at Denver. Green Bay is 1.5-point favorites on the road, and the total is 45. Randy, any thoughts on this game, or is it trash?
My immediate thought is that this game is trash. So Denver allows the most rushing yards in the league. There's no chance that Green Bay doesn't give Aaron Jones more work this week because they've been needing to get him back onto the field and worked into the offense. I would look at Aaron Jones rushing yard prop over. Everything else in this game is just not good.
Ben?
Yeah, this game, another hard one to watch. You said you have over under 45?
Yes.
Okay, on DraftKings I have 44.5, but I'll take the under in this game too. I just don't see it. I mean, Packers in the beginning of the season, we thought they looked good. That Jordan Love is going to be the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers, and he kind of slacked off. And then the Broncos, I don't know what's going on with the Broncos. I mean, everybody thought they would be better, but it just hasn't panned out at all. Their defense just awful. Yeah, just stay away from this game.
Michael?
Yeah, I like the under as well. Broncos really have no run game at all. Packers are back to having to look for a quarterback, it appears. So, not that the Broncos don't want to find a new quarterback either, but Wilson statistically has been better this year. The outcomes have been no better, but I mean, he's got 12 touchdowns in 6 games. I do like the under here. I don't think the Packers score a lot. I almost want to get Broncos too, but that seems bold to pick a team that's won one game all year. So I'm just going to go with the under, which seems safer.
Broncos score a fair amount of points at home this year. They have. But also their defense is playing substantially worse. Well, I say substantially worse. I can't say this worse at home. But they aren't playing at good overall. Their best game was, defensively speaking, was this past week against Kansas City. What does that translate over to at home against Green Bay? I mean, it should, hopefully, for them and Vance Joseph.
Think so.
But we haven't seen it on back-to-back weeks yet, so we can't just call it a trend yet and say, yeah, that's how it's going to be. I mean, we've learned that Sean Payton can't necessarily coach anything and make it a winner, sadly. So,
well, I mean, Vance Joseph is a horrible defensive coordinator. I've always thought that.
Yeah, and I mean,
why didn't you tell them before they hired him?
Well, this is the second time they've hired him. They hired him as a head coach the first time they hired him, and now they've hired him back as and that was on Sean Payton. Sean Payton's got he basically is told, he's been given leeway about his personnel hirings and his personnel firings as well, and he's not done that. So
if it makes him feel any better, Avero's not doing much better in Carolina right now. So, albeit half our defense is hurt, so hard to really gauge. But
yeah.
Here's
Did you know
for you?
Did you know that there are 792 coaches employed in the NFL?
Dang.
111 of them are biologically related or related by marriage. These terrible coaches keep getting recycled no matter, I understand there's some racial, flaws in the system kind of thing. They need to work those out, sure. But these guys just keep getting recycled. That's 14% of NFL coaches that are related. And it really seems to not matter how bad they are, that they just keep getting cycled through the system.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's things called coaching trees that these upper echelon coaches over the past have, been their assistants and such like that. Like Bill Parcells' coaching tree goes down to Bill Belichick. It goes to you name it. There's a lot of people there. Then you got
Sean
Mike
McVay, Andy Reid,
Mike Shanahan's coach. Yeah, it comes down. It trickles down to Kyle and his offspring, and Chuck Noll, which was down to Herm Edwards, and I think what's his name for the Colts,
Tony Dungy.
Tony Dungy, and Dungy went down to Tomlin, and there's just all kinds of trees that of decent coaches. I mean, the Andy Reid tree is absolutely amazing right now. It's one of the newer branches, the tree, that comes down, and with all his successors. But yeah, I mean, and then like I said, they were either related. Some of them are, and then or they marry, other people, that related. Like it's crazy. It's wild. And I know we have this thing, the Rooney Rule in place where you have to give minorities a chance to coach. And I just don't think that enough of them are coaching because I don't think enough of them. No, seriously. I don't think enough of them are coaching, enough of the new ones. I think they're recycling the old ones that they've had. And because they've been in coaching, you got to give people a chance. It's like when you go out and have a job application, they're like, oh, you need experience to this job. Well, how am I getting experience if I can't get experience? If I can't start a job to get experience with it? It's rough. It sucks. It's a fraternity within, like you said, almost family-like. And if it's not biological family or married into it, it's tree related. It's ancestral related, basically. If you think about it coming from like a coaching tree. And that goes for everybody. That goes for all the coaches of all races and all ethnicities. It's easy for me to say. And it just needs, you need new blood. You need fresh blood, and it comes from it's everybody.
I mean, a good example of the fresh blood. Mac McDaniel with Miami. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
he was a ball boy for Denver, right?
Yep. And they didn't even give him a chance. They didn't even look at him.
No, they did.
Doesn't it?
For the and then he got hired on to be offensive coordinator at 49ers by Kyle, right?
Yeah, well, first he was with
if you look
the
at
Browns,
if you look at the I forgot what year it was, and I think they were still the Redskins at that time. But there was a team that had Matt LaFleur, McVay, Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, it was Washington. Yep.
Was it McDaniel there too? Like there was,
I think so. Yeah, it was
10 future head coaches underneath Jay Gruden.
Yep.
At that time, and they just let them all walk out the door.
Yep. Front offices are going to have to take a chance on these new guys. I think they're afraid to.
And I don't want to get canceled, but front offices, what are they? Predominantly white.
Well,
and they just don't, they're old, and they're old too, for the most part.
Yeah.
It's an outdated system. Is what it feels like. And I think we're quick to label some of these coaches as great. I think Bill Belichick is a great defensive mind.
Always yes.
When it comes to personnel, he's made, I could argue, some of the worst decisions in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows how to pick a wide receiver that is even worthy of being put on the field.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He has no clue.
And he just strikes out consistently. If you look at his record, he's actually 71-79, 71-80 now after the loss this week without Brady. He's less than 500 without Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, another outdated. Give Bill his flowers. He's got his Super Bowls. He knows more about football than I'll ever know.
Yeah.
But it's time for him to go.
And I'm sorry, like you touched on earlier, Bill O'Brien. People looked at him because he came from Belichick's coaching tree. They gave him all these opportunities and options, and look what's happened with this.
That tree is the worst tree there ever was.
Yeah. Who else? Who else can come from that tree that we know that has?
I can't think of one successful person, but if you look at, there was Josh McDaniels now that has had multiple opportunities and has failed multiple times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who was the larger individual? I forgot
Patricia.
Matt Patricia.
There was one before him too. I can't remember what the guy's name was.
Charlie Weiss.
Yes, Charlie Weiss.
Yeah,
yes.
Was terrible in multiple positions.
Yep.
There's been a lot of of people that have come out from underneath this coaching tree. The dude for the Giants a couple years ago that was the co-offensive coordinator, was a special teams coach.
Yeah. I know
Oh,
you're talking
yeah.
about,
Can't remember. It popped in and out of my head.
He wasn't
Doesn't
there
matter.
very
He's not
long.
important anymore.
no, yeah.
But yeah, there's just a lot of these instances where it's time to evolve.
Was it Judge?
Yeah, Joe
Joe
Judge.
Judge.
Joe Judge.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
These
time
are
to
all
evolve.
these are all offensive people too, aren't they? For the most part.
They came from all over the place. Patricia was defensive. Weiss was offensive.
Yeah,
Bill O'Brien is offensive. Joe Judge was actually a special teams coach.
Mhm.
I think where they're trying to implement analytics in the game play, they need to look at analytics from a coaching perspective.
Coaching also.
And not worry so much about who this person is related to, or even what race or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Get the right person for the right job, and the rest of it will sort itself out.
Yep.
Correct. You think Mike Vrabel might be the best out of that coaching tree for Belichick as we stand and talk right now? Or
I mean, he has to be, but that's not even that great.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
He's just buffer Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Eric Mangini come from that same tree too?
Yes.
I like him on
Yeah.
TV, and he seems knowledgeable breaking down tape, but
He does, but yeah, coaching, no.
yeah.
Are we we got on a tangent right there, but I liked it. It was good. We ready to move on to this
Best two games of the
marquee-
week.
Well, there's 3 games left, and we got the
No.
marquee game.
Yeah, that was
Best two
Hey,
games and
hey.
then your game.
Hey, okay, fair enough. The marquee 425 game, Chargers at KC. KC is 5.5-point favorites. Total is 48.5. Where do I start with on this one? I forgot. Michael, go ahead with it.
I am going to go with the under at 48.5.
Yep.
Neither offense really impresses me to the point that they normally would at this point in the season. I think losing Mike Williams kind of hurts that Chargers offense. The fact that they could only put up, 17 last night? 14?
17.
It was 17.
17. They got lucky. on that.
17 and in the red zone 3 times with no score.
Yeah,
I mean-
in the second half.
To me, the Chiefs' defense at this stage of the season probably. All right, I had something come on.
His
Yeah.
own computer disagrees with his take.
I know.
No.
No, I think the Chiefs' defense this part of the year has been better than the Cowboys. It's actually been the bright spot on that team, I would say. I think their offense hasn't really clicked on all cylinders yet. So I'm going to go with the under on 48.5. I mean, I just don't think these teams are going to light each other up quite like that. I think someone's going to light the other up, and the other's going to struggle all game.
Randy?
When he talks about firing on all cylinders, I don't know. Is this Kansas City team? Is it a 1990 Ford Tempo body with a Ferrari engine, or is it a Ferrari with a moped engine? At some point, Mahomes can only carry these guys so far. Go get this dude some receivers so he can bring you another few Super Bowls before someone catches up with you, Kansas City. I'll take the over on Kansas City or on Mahomes passing yards for Kansas City. The Chargers have been just decimated through the air. They give up over 320 passing yards per game to quarterbacks, and they haven't faced anyone like this. But for the love of God, please go get Patrick Mahomes some help. This dude, Kansas City could separate so far from the entire league right now outside of teams like San Francisco and Philly. They're so far ahead of these other teams. Maybe Miami, but I see Miami having health issues in a couple of weeks. Kansas City could really separate and bring home multiple championships, build a dynasty, but they're not going to do it with these, off the street wide receivers. They need to go get him some help.
I mean, does a Jerry Jeudy move the needle at all on that team?
Unfortunately, it does because
Yeah,
the
just a
needle
little
is
bit,
stuck
but,
at zero.
Yeah.
So at
At
least,
least it would click.
Yeah.
Go get
Ben.
Hollywood.
Yeah, go get Hollywood. But
I've
the
actually
best
seen that
receiver,
floating around.
Yeah, the best receiver on that team's Rice right now. And
Chris Godwin would be an excellent pick for them.
he would be. He really would.
Tampa's not getting rid of him though.
No. I have the under on this game, and I have both quarterbacks throwing at least one interception. I mean, they are both prone to it. For Mahomes, it's not really his fault. It's more the receiver's fault. But and for Herbert, this is all his fault. I don't know why he does half the time. He just chucks it down there. And I even go with Keenan Allen, have like 8-9 receptions, because that's all who he just throws it to half the time. If you take away Keenan Allen, Chargers really won't have, hardly any offense. So take the under, take the interceptions, and call it a day.
I got to jump back in here for a second.
Yeah, something's going on outside. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I got 2 dogs, and it looks like my wife has been on Amazon again because it looked like there was a small, it looked like a midget rave outside my window. I just figured out that my dogs have on Kim Light necklaces, so they're glowing in the dark. So I just saw a small rave going on outside the window.
Yeah.
Goodness. Well, speaking of rave parties, this next game is the Sunday night game, and it could be just that. Miami at Philly. Philly 2-point favorites. Total 51.5. Philly coming off a loss to the Jets. Miami coming off of another, beat down. They did not score 50. Randy, what do you have in this game?
I'm going to play the YouTube algorithm game here. If you want to know my thoughts on this game, comment down below your questions, and I'll answer them.
There you go. I like it. Ben.
I have, let's see here. I have 52 as the total. I'm going to take the under because just like Philly did last game and week before that, they're running the ball a lot. They're going to slow it down and make it as difficult for Miami's offense as they can to get the ball back and score. So, with that being said, I still have Miami winning. So I will take the money line on Miami.
Michael, your thoughts?
I like Miami to win as well. The Eagles they feel like they're just going through the motions right now. They've had a few closer games, and I thought they should have. Then it finally kind of caught up with them after they turned it over 4 times this past week. The Dolphins, to me, have been the more consistent team, except for that one game against the Bills. But pretty much everybody else they face, they seem to obliterate. So I don't think they're going to obliterate Philly, but I do think they're going to beat Philly. I think Philly's got some things to figure out on offense that they're not 100% in sync right now. So I'm going to take Dolphins +2.
Winds are going to be 10-20 in Philly on Sunday night at present time. So
I still think it benefits Miami. Their receivers are they can throw those little just screen routes to receivers to compensate for that, and they can take it 20, 30, 50 yards.
Yep.
I don't think Philly's defense has been tested like this yet this year, so it'll be a good matchup to see. But I don't like to talk about injuries and put any bad juju and voodoo on people or speak into any existences. But I feel really leery and weary and cautious about Tua this week going to Philly. That I know that turf is not the old veteran stadium turf that it was concrete and hurt so many people, but
it still sucks. It's
hurt some people in the past. It's not very good.
That was a back injury.
Yeah. So this Eagles defense will get after Tua. I know that for a fact. I got all those former Georgia standouts on their defense side of the ball. So, this is going to be Tua's toughest matchup so far this year, as far as defensive. Any more thoughts on this game, gentlemen, before we move on to the Monday night marquee?
Mhm.
And by marquee, I only mean
I'm about to say
marquee's
marquee.
one guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
More like ass kicking them.
Like Bismarcky?
Like
Yeah.
I can't believe San Fran's only a 7-point favorite in this game.
Moving on, San Fran at Minnesota, Monday Night Football. San Fran is 7-point favorites in Minneapolis. Total is 44. This game is a rebound game of sorts, I guess, for the 49ers after they have gotten beat by Cleveland this past weekend. I don't know. I mean, this game is very has the potential to be entertaining, but with Christian McCaffrey's injury, he's going to be out for probably at least this game. Debo's going to be questionable for sure.
Both are
they said they both could play.
both day to day right now.
Day to day, okay. We shall see. Since it is a Monday night game, yeah. I'm going to start it off right here, and I like you know what I think about both teams. I love my Vikings as far as they're my team. From a betting perspective, I love Brock Purdy and I love the 49ers, and I like that team a lot. And you also know that the 49ers, or you may not know, that the 49ers used to be my team back in the day, back when I was a wee little
Why would you change?
Yeah, well, see, what had happened was I, just like Coldplay, I hated Steve Young. And the reason I hated Steve Young is because he took the place of my guy and ran him out of town. And that was Joe Montana. So I learned then I was not a 49ers fan. I was a Joe Montana fan. So I went to Kansas City. Again, why would I change? But Joe Montana had to retire, and so I became a Vikings fan. Now, fast forward to current present day. Brock Purdy's amazing. My Vikings are in turmoil. And
I did not like that pick.
And I'm going to go with a turnaround performance by my Minnesota Vikings with the money line pick, and I'm going to lock it in.
Really?
There we go. Yes.
Without Justin Jefferson.
Without Justin Jefferson. I know
With
he's
the
out.
49ers defense.
Yeah.
Wait, did you
With-
pick
On Monday
Vikings?
night. I did.
Yeah,
I started off
with Kirk Cousins who can't
in prime
play
time. In prime time. This is gonna be that whole reverse of the curse thing, and this game is gonna catapult us into a wild card position down the road in this season. Okay. With that being said,
Wait. You think you're making the playoffs too?
With no
Yes.
JJ?
yes. Okay. Now,
Golly.
Trying to
being
wrap my
said-
head around all of this.
I didn't know we were all getting high before we got on here.
I know. I missed out. Yeah.
do not worry about it, Ben. Now that I've started this, what are your thoughts on this game?
I think your Vikings are going to lose. I'm going to take Niners to cover. I'm going to also go with the under 44. I just don't see your Vikings having a shot without Justin Jefferson. I mean, they've looked awful even with him. So, yeah, not feeling your Vikings there.
Fuller?
Yeah, I'm going Niners cover. I just even if McCaffrey and Debo don't play, I mean, they still have Ayuk, they still have Kittle, they still have Mitchell at running back, Brock Purdy. I mean, the real concerns, even if they didn't have any of those guys, their defense is pretty lights out, and with no JJ to take any pressure off anybody else, I don't see how the Vikings stay in this game. So I'm going San Fran to cover easy.
Randy?
I am not interested in this game. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about being in a position for a playoff game. You're going to probably be in some positions whenever San Francisco gets finished with Minnesota, but I wouldn't imagine that we're considering playoffs at that point. We're probably considering, do we bring back Justin Jefferson this year? Do we go ahead and think about moving Kirk? I personally think they should go ahead and make the trade. Go ahead and trade Kirk to someone who's a contender. I know that he said he would not waive his no trade clause, but I think sometimes there's ways to find ways around that, and that way is called money. You incentivize him to get the hell out of the building. I realize he's been the best quarterback you guys have had for multiple decades now, probably. But he's not going to win you the big game. You're not winning a Super Bowl with Kirk. You're capped. Yeah, I think this is a turning point, like you were saying, for the Vikings. But I think you turned left when you should have turned right.
With that, gentlemen, are we ready to go over our locks for the week?
Let's get it.
Yep.
Locks for the week presented by no sponsor to date, but we will go over them as well. And then through those, I will build a 3-leg, and I will go back to the 3-leg parlay of the week. We will start with the Thursday night game, Jaguars at Saints. Gentlemen, any locks?
No.
No.
Commanders at Giants on Sunday. Any locks?
I'll take the under.
Locking in the under at 39.5.
Yep. Both these teams are the best aspect of both these teams of the defense.
Okay. Moving on, Cleveland at Indy. Locks?
I'll take the under.
I was going to say I was going to take the under as well.
Under at 39.5. Okay. Raiders at Bears.
I'll take the under.
Under at 37.5.
Mm-hmm.
Bills at Patriots.
I'll take the under.
Same.
I just want to beat Randy to it first.
41.5. Okay.
Same.
Falcons at Buccaneers.
Pass.
Yeah, pass.
Lions at Ravens.
Under.
Detroit money line.
Under, Randy?
Mm-hmm.
You said 42.5?
42 and a half is what I got.
Yeah, that's what I got as well. Cardinals at Seahawks.
Under.
I'm going to go Cardinals to cover at +8.
Oh, and get a sandwich when that game is on.
Well, that's the only reason I want it. I want to lock it so I can watch it.
Steelers at Rams.
Under.
Puka Nakua receiving yards if it's reasonable.
Yeah, I got Puka on over on receptions if reasonable.
And use your own determinations. If you guys want to know what I'm thinking on Puka receiving yards later on in the week, again, comment and I'll hit you guys up closer to game time when we know the weather, that kind of thing.
Packers at Broncos.
No chance.
Pass. I don't.
Chargers at Chiefs.
No.
Dolphins at Eagles.
If you want to know, ask me.
I have Miami money line.
49ers at Vikings.
San Fran covers. What is it? -7.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, San Fran at -7 for me.
Too many points for an annoying team.
Vikings money line lock. With that
Nobody
being
can do that.
said,
You don't even want to take the +7.
I have a 3-leg parlay.
If it includes the Vikings, you can just go ahead and cancel it now.
That-
No,
Yeah,
it's a 3-leg parlay and has none of my biases in it. So
That was my nickname in high school. 3 legs. I'll let you figure out one.
itsy bitsy spider. Wait, what? My 3-leg parlay is going to be, like Randy said, actually, we're going to make a smooth move right here and like, share, and comment. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe, you get the 3-leg parlay that I have in my hand. And with that, gentlemen, are y'all ready for some week 7 action this weekend?
Yeah, it's going to be a low-scoring week. If you're playing DFS, if you play that first slate of games on the main slate and you don't have any PMR, player minutes remaining, for that Kansas City and Chargers game, you probably are going to take an L. If you're first place after the 1 o'clock games, you're probably not going to end up in first place. So, yeah, that game is going to be super highly owned. And That's probably where my money will be this week because I don't see a whole lot of betting strategies minus just bet the crap out of the unders. Go get them now on the games that you like. Before these numbers change because they're going to change with this weather closer to weekend.
Yep.
Well, it looks like the average points is like 5 to 6 points higher per game in the 4 o'clock slate versus the 1 o'clock slate.
Because a lot of those games are
pretty much a whole touchdown to go get from somebody.
a lot of those games are on the East Coast too, and they're bad teams. So in the
and the weather,
slate,
and the weather,
that weather's going to be. With that being said, everyone have fun this weekend. Go watch some NFL games. Go watch sports in general. Dictate and evaluate your unit size of what you're betting. We don't get to tell you what to do. We don't want to tell you what to do. So that's not what we do. But we want you to go have fun and be responsible. So with whatever that means to you, responsibility. A lot of people can decide it. And goes different ways for each and every person. It's individualized for a reason. Go have fun this weekend. Enjoy the games, and we will see y'all next week. We out.
See you.